ball. Booch. We playing Booch ball. Hello and welcome back to Booch Ball, the only podcast in the known universe talking kombucha and college sports. I'm Alex, joined as always by my lovely co-host Freed. How you doing over there, Freed?
Doing great, man. Welcome to the future. It's good to see you. 2024. It's been so slow without college football, but at the same time, I can't believe we're 13 days away from kickoff in the swamp.
13 days away, Freed. This is our preseason episode. And as I was getting ready for this little stream, I felt something come over me. It was a feeling of rebirth and hopefulness that really took hold. And I realized that I miss getting on and doing these Booch Balls because Booch Ball means that college football is right around the corner. And that just makes me happy.
I can feel it in the air tonight, baby. I can taste it. I can taste the Booch for sure. But I can hear that Phil Collins, the drums are playing in the background.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah,
Football's
baby.
almost here. Yeah, we're back, baby. We are so back.
We're so back. And Free, this is season 5 of Booch Ball?
Yeah.
A lot of people said that we'd never make it to 5 seasons of Booch Ball, but we've clearly proved them wrong.
That's right. Prove the haters wrong. Can't bring us down.
A lot of people were begging us to stop after 1 season.
A lot of people didn't even know there was a season 1.
Please don't do another kombucha college football podcast.
Well, that's too bad.
The day I listen to those haters is the day I'm not breathing. You can pry this kombucha out of my cold unsettled stomach.
Not today, heathens. Well, we got a good episode for you guys today. This is meant to be an introductory episode or a reintroductory episodes of sorts. It's a reset for Booch Ball. It's a reset for college football. And, we are the only podcast on the internet talking kombucha and college sports. And we are going to talk some Miami Hurricanes football because that's what we like talking about. So that's what we're going to do.
Mm-hmm. And we're also going to talk about the kombucha that we will be drinking in today's episode. Just as a reminder for all of you, the winner of our last year, our 2023 season, was the Brew Doctor Raspberry Limeade Founders Edition, which was very difficult to find out there. It was kind of like a hipster selection Booch, but Brew Doctor was kind of like a semi-sponsor of last year's episode.
They're a friend of the show. Yeah.
They're friends of the show. We had one of the guys, Rob, a member from the Booch Doctor community on our podcast. But we're moving forward. We should have some GTs in the future. We're going to have some Brew Doctors. We'll have a couple maybe new and maybe local kombuchas. But for today's episode, Freed, we're doing a reset. It's time for us to tell you what we're drinking.
What we're drinking?
Freed, tell us what we're drinking today.
Well, in honor of this week 0 episode, we got Health Aid. This is from the Health Aid Plus line, and this is condensating all over me right now. In addition to my hand sweat, it is just real wet on here. Wow.
Ginger, I'm also getting a big drip on mine too.
Yeah, major condenser. Ginger pineapple belly reset. How perfect for the week 0.
The belly reset. That's a lovely little name for this. It's got a little tiny. This is like a fresh, high-tech looking design here. This looks like an Oregon uniform type or something.
Yeah, the yellows and the greens. Have you tried this one before?
I have not. I've seen this around at my local spot. Haven't tried it.
Same. Yeah.
But I do. I love ginger. Pineapple. I like the fruit. I'm not a big pineapple drinker necessarily, but I do love resetting my belly. So
agreed. Yeah, we're generally in alignment on our kombuchas. And if you're new to the show, what we're going to do is we're going to drink this throughout the episode, and we're going to rank it from 1 to 10 at the end. And at the end of the season, the top kombuchas from the season are going to go head to head in the Booch Ball playoff, which I don't know if we have time to expand to 12 teams.
We're gonna keep
That's
it
a
to the
lot of
4.
kombucha.
It's still the 4 is the main one. Yeah,
The true
luckily,
playoff format.
yeah,
Yeah.
our committee hasn't had as much drama around it. Everyone's pretty happy about the way we've been doing our playoffs.
Yeah, the BBC likes the way it is right now. So without further ado, sorry to cut you off there.
Oh, I just wanted to clarify what BBC stood for, the Booch Ball Committee, in case anybody was
That's
confused.
what the Booch Committee is.
Without further ado, Freed, let's go ahead and pop this sucker open and do a little smell test. I'm doing my silent version.
Yes, you got to spread around the sediment from the bottom of the barrel a little bit, and it smells gingery.
Very gingery with a hint of I'm getting that pina colada little whiff. I feel
Honestly,
like I'm on the
I'm not.
beaches of Key Biscayne.
This smells like the Health Aid lemon ginger to me.
No, it's sweeter to me. I'm getting a sweeter vibe. Let's go
Okay,
in for
let's see.
our first sip. Cheers, Freed.
Cheers.
Season 5.
Yeah.
You getting that pineapple? You getting that slight sweetness?
Mm-hmm. There's nothing slight about pineapple. Pineapple's a cover. That's why you mix it in with alcoholic beverages. Pineapple is a masking agent, and this is pineapple-y. I feel the ginger kind of on the back of the throat. You know,
Yeah.
once you drink
And
it, you know there's ginger in it.
Spice.
It's a warmth. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's I'm gonna read their little blurb that they have on this, and then we'll move things along here. But so the Health Aid Kombucha, here's what they have to say about themselves and the pineapple ginger pineapple belly reset. Reset from the inside out. Within your gut, there are trillions of microorganisms working hard to maintain a healthy harmony. Bring on the balance with digestion-soothing ginger and an extra dose of probiotics to help your gut get back to happy. Extra probiotics, Freed. That's going to go well with the new fiber supplement I'm taking, I hope.
Sounds like a cocktail. Yeah, ingredients-wise, kombucha, pineapple juice, ginger extract, and additional live cultures. So yeah, Health Aid giving you the double dose. They're giving you the kombucha, which already has the culture, and they're throwing in some more culture in there. So we've got more culture than a Booch Ball podcast in this bottle.
Hard to believe that, Freed. All right, folks, that's what we're drinking on today's episode. If you'd like to drink along, Health Aid Kombucha, Ginger Pineapple Belly Reset. We've told you what we're drinking. Freed, it's now time to move on to the second segment of the show, which is, of course, what we're thinking.
What we're thinking. Yes, so during the Booch Ball season, we oftentimes bring in a guest to share with us. That could be anyone from the kombucha side of things to the football side of things. We've had a wide array of characters, and we're going to continue to bring you the best and brightest from friends of the program.
In most cases, at least.
Yeah, and some from the bottom of the barrel every now and then. But we're going to have some cool guests in store for you this year. But today, it's just us.
That's true, Freed. And I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else.
Oh, thanks.
I really couldn't do it with anyone else. It really wouldn't be Booch Ball without me and Freed. On today's episode, this is our reset season preview episode here. So I know, Freed, you are very dialed in. I would say definitely more than I am on all the different latest rosters and everything like that, and who we should be on the lookout for. But where I would like to start is where, if anybody here out there listening is a fan of college football and also is at any sort of gamer, you are probably well aware of the EA Sports College Football 25, the new video game that is finally out after all the NIL issues. They're finally paying the players to have their name, image, and likeness to play on the game. And boy, Freed, have I been spending a lot of my life playing that video game.
Well, that's the plan. It had been a long time coming for college football for EA Sports. I have not had any sort of video game system since college, and this one almost broke me. The week of the release, I was so tempted, but at the end of the day, I just decided not to do it, and I'm enjoying seeing the CFB EA 25 talk on the timeline, but I'm on the sidelines.
My timeline, rightfully so, because it knows what I'm listening. It's just like, here are the top 25 plays for you to pull out. Like, here's why you should be using the Jacksonville State playbook when you're coaching Dynasty. Like, here's the screen.
Yeah.
If you use HB Screen Pass, here's how to do it so that you can like glitch the system and beat
Are
the
you
beat.
in the dynasty?
I've got 2 dynasties for you,
How many
and
hours a week are you spending recruiting? You
it's
pulling Mario Cristobal all-nighters or what?
I I the recruiting is taking over
Oh,
lots of my
no.
life. I spend more time recruiting than I do actually in playing the game because I do offense only because
Okay. You're
I
an
just
OC.
can't bother myself with playing defense in the game. First of all, I suck at it. I'm also not even that good at offense, really. Like I play so there's a couple difficulty levels. You can play freshman, which I would never stoop that low, but I do play on the second easiest difficulty, which is varsity. And then there's varsity, all American, and then there's like Heisman. I think those are like the other ones. I can't imagine what it's like playing on all American and or Heisman because I'm playing varsity and I don't know how you feel about this, and I'm curious what the audience feels about this, but about restarting your games if you're losing.
I feel
Because
like in dynasty mode, that's kind of a no-no, man. You gotta take your lumps.
I know, and I definitely did not do that with I have 2 dynasties. One I'm co-coaching a team with our friend George, friend of the podcast. We have a coach named Buster Nutt, Knutt, and we coach the
Classy.
Coastal Carolina Chanticleers, who are trash, by the way. And we've had a couple just like, we both just look at each other and we're like, we got to restart this one because like we can't be losing to like freaking, I don't even know who the hell it would be. Um, but I've for my own, I have my own separate dynasty that I'm doing where I'm coaching Tulane. And I recently decided that I am not going to restart any games. Freed, at the end of the regular season, my quarterback had 45 touchdowns and 27 interceptions. 20.
I mean,
I'm
that's a
averaging at least 2
high octane
interceptions a game.
offense. But, 2-to-1 ratio, you gotta move
Mhm.
the ball, you gotta take risks. That's okay.
But so in the spirit of the new football video game coming out, and I know that you're on our Twitter at Boochball, talking about who are the kind of top 20 players to watch to make sure that we, have a good season, or that we beat Florida, really, is what your thing is. I'm curious if you can guess who the top 3 highest rated players are for the Miami Hurricanes in EA College Football 25.
Overall rating,
Overall rating.
I'm gonna go with Damian Martinez.
That's number 1. Correct. He's a 91 overall.
And then I'm gonna go to Xavier Restrepo.
Xavier Restrepo's in there. He's top 3. He comes in at the 3 slot with a 90 overall.
And Ruben Bain.
That is correct, Freed. Ruben Bain
Okay.
slots in with a 90 as well. So it goes Damian Martinez, Ruben Bain, Xavier Restrepo, and then sliding in at 4th with an 89 overall is
The way you set me up, I'm assuming Cam Ward.
gotta be. Yep.
Okay.
Cam Ward.
Okay.
And then left tackle Jalen Rivers finishes out the top 5 with Francis Mauigoa coming in just beneath him at number 6.
Okay. That's fairly reasonable. I don't have any major qualms there. I
Mhm.
feel like this is weird coming from me, but I feel like Ruben Bain's getting a little overhyped.
Interesting.
I don't really see the All-American vibes from him so much. I mean, I think he's a really
Really?
good player. I think he's going to be a good college player, but we have so many other dudes on the defensive line that I think are potentially better athletes,
Yeah.
and could potentially put up better numbers just because a lot of attention is going to be on Ruben Bain.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see there. I mean, no shade to him, good player, but I see people putting him in the top 10, top 25 on national player lists,
Yeah.
and that just seems a little bit of a reach to me.
Well, to be fair, at least on I also looked up who were like the top 100 players in the system, and Miami like Damian Martinez comes in with our best player is ranked 67 out of 100. Ruben Bain they have ranked 78 out of 100. And then Restrepo they have at 93 out of 100. So those are our three in the top 100, both well outside the top 50 players.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. I think the list could look very different at the end of the year. I mean, if Miami ends up having a good year, there's a lot of dudes on this team that are going to be getting some buzz for draft picks, for high rankings in the game, etc. So, one thing I've noticed is the game has EA has said they're going to update the rosters, every week based on play. So it'll be interesting to revisit this in a few weeks and see where folks stand. It's almost like a way to track the overall consensus of the stock of players. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I think I think this game, I'm trying to be careful about this game not taking over my life because I have so many other hobbies and things that I do. But it's been a really fun way of just like kind of like previewing the season and getting me into these games and starting to like know who's who.
You get to learn the team. That's a great way to learn the team. If you're not listening to, insider podcasts and articles every day, that's the best way to do it. And I think, so correct me if I'm wrong, right now, there's still a bunch of players, not a bunch, but a handful who haven't quite made it in, who have opted in recently and are going to come in. So are there placeholder people in there, like imaginary players that are still?
That's what I've heard. Yeah, I haven't, I would really was just researching this today. So like, for example, like Sam Brown, the new wide receiver from Houston,
right?
He's not in the game.
Right.
And like a lot of our cornerbacks aren't in the game. So like Daryl Porter's not in the game. Damari Brown, who I've heard people really be excited about.
Yes.
Not like we're missing like 4 cornerbacks and like 3 linebackers in the game.
Yeah. A lot of interviews I've heard from players, pretty much all of them have said, "Oh, I opted in late. We didn't fully understand the process. I've now opted in and I'll be in the next update." So I guess one thing that would just be funny is if you just fall in love with one of these created characters and you're watching the game and you're like, put in Franklin McFarland. Like, this dude's like a sneaky good
Apparently there's a guy named Dante Langston is like the cornerback for Miami who's like nasty. And I'm on a Reddit thread who apparently that's supposed to be Daryl Porter.
That's fine.
But yeah. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't play defense, so I don't know anybody who plays.
Okay.
So yeah, but so we talked about, the EA, college football and everything like that. So talk to me about if you can give me maybe like 1 or 2 players that we should be on the lookout for that, didn't fall in that top 5 list that we got from EA. Who were some of the people that you've got your sights on and that we should be looking out for, especially as the Florida game rolls around?
Are you talking in terms of the video game or in terms of?
I'm talking about real life. I'm going
real life. Yeah. So, actually, what I've been doing recently to kind of count down in terms of getting ready for the Florida game, I've been counting down the days, and I made a list of the 20 players who I feel are most important for the Florida game in order for Miami to win. And this
now, are you
list
doing that based off of? Are you just doing Florida just because that's the first game, or like is this more of a season kind of thing?
No, so this is it's more of a general season thing, but I was thinking in particular in this Florida game, because we're counting down to the Florida game, and this isn't necessarily the 20 best players. I intentionally kind of did not include a few guys who I think have a very low floor. And in my mind, I know what we're going to get from them. So I might not have put them in this list because I was thinking, you know what? I know what we're going to get. I want the guys in here who, if they pop, they could be the difference. Okay. So that was kind of how I did it. And just to clarify, I don't have Xavier Restrepo in this top 20 list. I think we know what we're going to get from him. He's going to catch the ball. He's going to have 8 catches for 80 yards, like maybe more. He might have a great game. He might not, but he's going to be there. He's going to do his thing. I put guys in there who, if they play their best, Miami's going to win. Okay. So today is 13 days till the Florida game, and I have another wide receiver, Jacoby George. I put him in this list because even though X might be the number 1 target, Jacoby is way more inconsistent. A big game from Jacoby George, and that's 2-3 touchdowns and a whole lot of yards. That's what Miami needs to win this game.
And a bad game from Jacoby George, he ends up in
3 unsportsmanlike penalties.
Yeah, he ends up in jail.
And so and tomorrow I'll give you a little sneak preview. Tomorrow is going to be tight end Elijah Arroyo. I think he's going to be tight end 1 this year. He was hurt last year.
Right.
I think what you saw of him last year, if any, was not representative of what he is as a player. He's the full package at tight end. It's not going to be 60 snaps of Cam McCormick at tight end this year. We're still going to see Cam McCormick, but he'll be in there to block. We're going to have Elijah Arroyo out there actually involved in the offense this season. I'd like to hope.
Yeah, I mean, Cam McCormick should be like a mid-level insurance sales representative by this point.
He's
28
26.
years
Yeah.
old.
Yeah. I mean, he's
He
going
should
to play.
He should have had a couple promotions under his belt in a corporate environment by this stage of his life.
Right. He'll go pro at something else, but he's a good blocking tight end, and Miami likes running those 2 tight end sets. So you're going to see him out there with Elijah Arroyo, with some of the other guys, and hopefully the tight ends will get more involved this season.
Got it. And I will say, I love that. I think Miami may be, at least on paper, the most Hispanic team right now. We've got a Martinez as our best player. We've got a Martinez and a Restrepo in our top 3. And then we've also got Elijah Arroyo for our tight end. I mean, if Miami...
Don't forget the kicker.
There's not necessarily...
Morales.
I think Miami can pretty easily claim to be the best Hispanic, most Hispanic representation.
Not even talking about the coaching staff. Of course you got Mario, and he can actually speak a little Spanish.
And what's the deal with Luis Cristobal?
Yeah, so he's still on the roster.
Nephew?
That's his nephew. He's a reserve, hopefully, lineman.
Yeah.
But we also have our backup center is Ryan Rodriguez, another local kid. So yeah, you're not wrong. We got some Miami culture, some Miami vibes on the roster.
Hell yeah. Okay, cool. So we got Jacoby and Arroyo. Anybody else sneaking around there that we should be on the lookout for, whether like on the maybe defensive side or something?
Yeah, so I think the one spot that you could argue is not as solidified for Miami this year is, of course, the secondary. Pretty much every position on offense and the defensive front 7 is on the verge of being loaded with returning talent, depth, the backups too. We have backups at all those positions. You can't really say that about the secondary. Daryl Porter, who you already called out, had a very good last year at cornerback. But cornerback 2 and both safeties, we brought in a safety from Washington, Mish Powell. He's kind of a bit of a hybrid. He played a lot of nickel for Washington, but it seems like Miami's going to use him as kind of the strong safety. And his partner back there is going to be Jaden Harris. He's kind of going to fill the Cam Kinchins role. So I have Jaden Harris as the 5th most important player. And he actually started last year in place of Cam Kinchins when Cam had that concussion for a couple weeks. So he's a 3rd-year guy. He has a little bit of experience. We just don't know exactly what we're going to get from him. And I think you could say the same about the other cornerback spot too. Damari Brown, like you mentioned, he might play nickel. Also, Jadis Richard might play cornerback. Those other starters, the Jaden Harris, the Damari Brown, the Richards at cornerback, those 3 guys are critical because we just don't know what we're going to get from them. It doesn't mean that they're not going to be good players, but we're having to project how well they're going to do in a starting role. Yep. And every other position, we know what we're going to get.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I think with all these previews and everything like that, we don't know what is going to happen until it happens on field. And we've made the mistakes in the past of getting too high up or down on anybody. I feel like that's the thing that we've learned here on this podcast here, Freed, is to do what? We have to temper our
expectations. That's all we can do. But at the same time, hey, we're fans, right? We've had all off season to forget about Georgia Tech and Niels and FIU, Middle Tennessee State. That's all so long ago. We've been drinking Kool-Aid kombucha all off season. And hey, why don't we just make some projections?
Well, Frida, what I want to do here to close us out in the thinking segment is to take a look at the schedule that we've got for the year. So Miami, obviously, we're starting off against Florida, August 31st, and then we have a pretty easy schedule. The only teams on our schedule that are ranked, at least in the preseason, however much you want that to matter, is Florida State. The only ranked team that shows up on our list. And, who knows what will happen with Florida. But a lot of people saying that we have one of the easier schedules out there.
Yeah, I think that's widely agreed upon that Miami does have one of the easiest schedules, not only in the ACC, but in the entire country. Yes, we play Florida on the road, but then the rest of out of conference is FAMU and Ball State. Those are pretty much as cupcake as it gets. Ball State being one of the worst MAC teams, at least expected in the conference, in the worst conference in FBS. And Miami also does travel to University of South Florida, which is they play at Raymond James over in Tampa. I wouldn't call that an easy game, but with the talent on Miami's roster, that's a game that we've crossed this bridge before, right? But that's an expected win. And
So
DC, there's just not all that much either. It's Louisville might be ranked. Virginia Tech could be ranked when we play them. Florida State could be ranked when we play them. But it's not a bad schedule. And the bye weeks shape up well too. We have a bye week in between right before the Louisville and Florida State games.
Yep. Yeah, I think as far as we were talking about games that we're excited about and games we're most scared about, I think that it's one game for me, and it's the Florida game. Because if we come out and look good against Florida at the Swamp and win,
temperament goes out the window.
It's full steam ahead on the season.
So is that the game you're most scared of?
Oh yeah, because I don't no other game matters really. I don't care if we lose to Florida State anymore. That game has lost any meaning to me anymore because we never win it. So it always feels like if we do win it, it's a fun little bonus to the season. The games I'm inevitably most afraid of are the ones that are in hindsight, oh, I should have been afraid of Georgia Tech, I guess.
Sure.
I'm always afraid of some random team. I'm afraid of Wake Forest.
Well, I like that mindset because that is the first game of the season. That is the game we should be focused on. So I like that mindset. That being said, in hindsight, I don't know. It's an out of conference game. It's on the road. Florida is a decent team, and they're going to be desperate to win this game. So I wouldn't say it's the one I'm most afraid of, but it is the one I'm most excited for because of all the things you just said.
I feel the same way.
It's the first game.
I'm exactly the same.
In terms of the game that I am absolutely terrified of, this is absurd, but I am terrified of the Duke game. We play Duke at home. If we lose that game, that would be the most embarrassing possible loss of the season. That's more embarrassing than Florida State. That's more embarrassing than Florida.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that would be worse than losing to Duke at home would be losing to FAMU. I believe that.
Holy shit. That wasn't even really on my radar.
And they're going to be bad. Duke's going to be bad.
But Manny Diaz is going to pull out all of his little defensive coordinator stops on that.
Yeah. So that'll be fun.
All right, Freed. All right, folks, we told you about who we're excited about, who we're scared of. It's now time for us to finish up the ep. We're going to tell you who we're picking. Kayla, we're not on the phone. We're recording Booch Ball.
Unbelievable.
Come on now. Freed throws his arm out. No, don't talk while I'm live on my podcast, babe.
Bring your own dishes. Bring your own groceries from the car. I'm busy doing man stuff.
I'm recording my podcast, babe. I can't help out around the house. All right, it's time for us to tell you. We've told you what we're drinking. Health Aid Ginger Pineapple Belly Reset. I'm
digging it.
I'm bullish on this one.
Yeah. I've been a little bit off my Booch game. I've still been having, at least one or two a week probably, but I've been out of the Booch review world, for the last few weeks, and it's good to have a new kombucha.
I've had a lot of questions over the offseason about that, of people asking me, and I've been pulling up the Booch Big Board and giving people recommendations and kind of comparing their reviews.
Yeah. You know what? We need an intern. If you're out there and you want to help us develop the Booch Big Board, I see Oh, Jazzo's in the comments. Hey, Jazzo. We need an intern. Come on in. Fix up the Booch big board.
Oh yeah, Jazzo says we need to have your wife on as a guest picker. Speaking of pickers, it's now time for us to tell you who we're picking.
Who we're picking.
All right, Freed, it's going to be nice and easy for this picking segment. What is your prediction for Miami's regular season record?
Yeah. This is where we get ourselves in trouble every year, isn't it, Alex? You know, this team is on paper the best team that we've seen since we started attending college in 2011. There's no doubt in my mind that on paper, this is the best team of the past, 15 years at least. Favorable schedule. But something always happens, right? Something's going to happen. You're not going to win every chalk matchup. I'm going to go for 10-2, and I think that gets us into the ACC championship game.
All right, Freed. Yep, I'm going 9-3. 9-3. It's just one of those things. I feel ultimately bullish about it. I feel like this is going to be a fun year. We need Mario to prove to us that he can be a good coach. Like, the thing is, like, I feel like I almost feel like what happened with the Georgia Tech game is has really changed for the worse Mario Cristobal's the perception of him as a coach. I don't think he's a terrible coach.
He's not stupid.
But I think he does make there's something there where he's just not the guy that's gonna out scheme the other team. And at least he can make up for that with the players he brings in.
Right.
We just have to hope that having a good quarterback is gonna cover up some of those, some of those.
Well, it could be a good thing in hindsight, because that could have been the trigger that caused Mario to be like, all right, I need somebody else to come make those decisions. Because it's my opinion that Mario knew he could kneel the ball and chose not to, because I don't think he believed in kneeling the ball. Yeah. I think that he thought kneeling was not an option. We're going to ram it down their throats. Kneeling's for those kombucha drinkers. We don't kneel around here. But he got caught in that, and he had to realize, swallow that hard lesson and be like, all right, we're going to go with the analytics from now on. And if that happens, why not?
That was a real gut check for Mario. And now it's time for him to reset his belly.
That's
Freed,
right.
It's now time for us to give our final scores on the Health Aid Ginger Pineapple Belly Reset. Bottoms up and cheers.
So we usually, on our typical weekly episodes, we'll do what we like to call a sediment pick, where, like the sediment floating on the bottom of the kombucha, we scrape the bottom of the college football barrel and pick a game between two teams we might not normally think about. We don't have that today. We're just going to enjoy our sediment in peace.
Thank you for filling us in there. For anyone who's still listening, 34 minutes in. All right, Freed, what is your final score on the Ginger Pineapple Belly Reset? Would have been better served during that time would have been to say that we have a scoring system 0 through 10, 10 being the best thing you've ever tasted, 0 the worst thing you've ever tasted. Where things get interesting is that the 5 is would drink it, 6 would buy it, 7 would recommend it, and then we kind of go up around from there. Freed, talk to me about this flavor. What are we feeling?
Yeah, this is a sneaky good flavor. I wish I had been drinking this sooner. Honestly, I don't really mess with the Health Aid Plus line. Maybe I need to start, because this is quite similar to the Health Aid Ginger Lemon, which is widely thought of as one of the best kombuchas on the market.
For sure.
But instead of the lemon, it's the pineapple. And it's just a little bit sweeter, covers some of that ginger burn a little bit. I'm going to put it just below the delicious threshold, which I have at 8. So I'm going to give it a 7.9.
We're back, baby.
We are so back.
7.9 from me as well, as I had written down on my sheet. Freed, good to be back in the business with you. Booch Ball Season 5 off to a strong start. It's time for me to go put in a couple more recruiting hours with with my Tulane team, and we've got a tough game in the college football playoff against Penn State coming up here, which no matter how many interceptions I throw, I will not be restarting it.
Sure.
Yeah, except for when I restarted it last night. All right, folks, Boochies, thank you for joining us. Sam Jazzo, love to have you in the comment section. We love you. We appreciate you. And as always,
stay cultured. Peace.